My name is Christy Busby, and you are about to listen to the next episode of my podcast called F.A.T.E, From Atheism to Enlightenment. So come on in, join me. We're going to talk about it all, from atheism to enlightenment. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Get ready, and welcome to your F.A.T.E. Welcome, everyone, to the end of the year episode of the F.A.T.E podcast. How's everybody doing today? This one is going to be a long episode, guys. It's a lot in it. I had always had planned to do an end of the year episode and talk to you about all the things that have transpired for me spiritually. So this episode is going to be a little bit longer than what I had initially thought, but it has turned into, I don't even know how to talk about this. So this is what I'm going to do. Just hang in there with me. It's going to be a journey yet again, but let me talk to you a little bit about what my year was like. And at the end of this little recap, shall we say, I will be bringing on two other people on the show, and we're going to talk about something that happened to me on Thursday of last week that was so beyond, it has been beyond my ability to even comprehend it. And it's making me excited. Anyways, so there's going to be a part 2 to this episode. Let's get to my journey of this year and how it began and how it's ending, which is a miracle in itself. So this podcast is fairly new. If you've been with me the whole time, you're going to really enjoy this story. Y'all know that I was an atheist my whole life, that I had a severe health crisis, that I spent many years regaining my health by trying alternative ways to heal, which led me into energy healing. It led me into concepts and principles that I didn't even really know existed. I was really swimming in my I think I know it all. People that believe in religious things are fooling themselves world that I was very comfortable in. So when I had broken out of that box and gotten into a new paradigm, and the energy healing did help me, and plant medicine did help me, and having those insights about, um, we are so much more than we think we are. And all these things that I have just been talking about on this show, that we don't know our real history, that we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. All of it was the reason why I started this podcast. It's only been out since February, and I have been so incredibly blessed by the caliber of people that I have been able to get on this show. And I have made so many new friends. I have learned so much this year. I spent my year alone, reading books, doing interviews, and being sick again, really. Like having the rug pulled out from underneath me again. So let's start with April. I was doing pretty good. This podcast launched in February, and I came out of the box like, "Ooh, I'm all better now, and I'm learning about spirituality, and I'm excited, and I want to bring you all these concepts and journey with me." And I was all for it. And around April, I got hacked, and I had all my money stolen, and it was a completely um, stressed me out to the point where I got sick and I was having symptoms again. And it was so mentally degrading for me. The symptoms were worse than ever. I was I was beyond myself, beside myself. Now, I'm in the middle of a job. I could barely work. I was so sick. I couldn't quit my job. I had to stick it out, and I had to stick it out till July, and it was really difficult. It was probably more difficult for me mentally because I had worked so hard to gain my health back. I thought I was on the other side of this, and I thought I was going to be completely free from this, be able to function, move through the world like I used to with nothing holding me back, with feeling good. Like I was excited about my life again. I was like, this is it. Life is going to get back to where it needs to be for me after all these years of struggling and trying to find myself again and searching for my health. It's all back. And I thought 2024 was going to be the year that was going to be my comeback story. And when my symptoms came back worse than ever, it was so mentally debilitating for me that I could barely talk to people or function. And especially at work, I actually had such an angry lashing out at my boss at work that they hung up the phone on me. Like it was bad. I was out of control. Um, anyways, so in April that started. I got through the job, um, barely. And from July, I think, to September, I saw no one. There was one person that I would see on a regular basis for my health, Natalie. And other than that, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't see anyone. I didn't grab a cup of coffee with anyone. I was utterly alone, feeling terrible, sleeping 10, 12 hours a day, getting up like I hadn't slept at all. I was suicidal. I didn't want to be here anymore. I was so angry. I had felt like my life had been taken away from me again, and I had just gotten it back. It made me question all of the, you know, it didn't make me question everything I learned, but it certainly I was pretty shocked, horrified, and devastated that I had found myself in a situation where I didn't think I was ever going to get any better than I was, and I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't understand my life anymore. I didn't. I did not understand my life anymore, and I did not want to be here. So during that time, I wasn't putting out any episodes. If you remember, I went on hiatus from July to September. Now, I was recording episodes, and in a weird way, this podcast kind of kept me going because I wasn't having to search for guests. They were coming to me, and I was just setting up the interviews. But what I would do is I would read their information, read their book, read what they were promoting, and I would continuously learn and become uh, it continued my spiritual development. I was still learning. I was still open to all of this, and I say a few times in some of the shows that I've released because a lot of these shows aren't out yet. I have like 8 episodes in the can that I haven't released. And during the episodes, some of them, you'll hear me say, I am having symptoms again. But I don't go into it any more than that because I just couldn't. I would have ended up having a breakdown. I would have ended up crying. I was too emotionally devastated to admit it, to talk about it. It was paralyzing for me. And one of the weird spiritual things that kind of happened with this podcast is that whenever I would start an interview, even if I was feeling terrible that day, I would get out of bed, put my face on, and prepare for that interview. And when I would be speaking to whoever I was on the show with that day, vast majority of my symptoms would just diminish. They would go away. It was almost like weird spiritual alignment. Like, I don't know. There's so many spiritual weird things that happened to me this year that I'm going to talk about today that I didn't really talk about that much during the year when I was recording and putting episodes out, and I would do my little end of the show wrap ups, but didn't get too in depth with what was going on with me personally. A little here and there, a little here and there. What kept me going all summer was I had a quantum healing session coming up in October. And I was full on manifesting my cure. I was preparing myself spiritually. I was getting in alignment for that. I was meditating on it every day. I was bringing it forth fully with my manifestation powers. Like, this was going to be the thing. I was going to go to my quantum healing session in October, fully prepared, full well knowing that I was going to come back healed. And that's one of the other things that kept me going over the summer. Like, if I didn't have that quantum healing session coming up and know that this was all going to be erased, then I don't know if I would have made it. I mean, it was bad, you guys. My mom is really the only person on the planet that knows how bad it was for me, is my mother. Other than that, I don't think anybody, maybe Brandy knew how bad it was for me. Anyways, October came, and during this time, I was also started working with a pendulum a lot, and because I wanted to understand why this happened to me, I wanted to understand why I was going through this. I didn't understand my life, so I was using anything I could, searching, seeking. I had done most of the things that you could do for your health. I had done. There really isn't anything I haven't, unless there's new stuff out there that I'm not aware of yet. Let me round back on that. I had done most of the stuff. I was really at this point kind of relying on spiritual means to heal my body. And quantum healing was how I was going to get there. And I spent the summer, though, working with a pendulum. And I started getting into my meditations became super interesting. I was messing around with this thing called the Gateway Experience from the Monroe Institute, and I do think I mentioned that in the Transcendental Meditation episode that I did with Patricia Saunders. And during some of my meditations, well, after I started doing like hemi-sync meditations where it's like it allows certain frequencies to talk to your left and right brain and they communicate better. My meditations, I would have full body shakes from head to toe, and they would start and they would go from my feet up into my brain. I would literally have like convulsing shakes to the point where you're going to think this is bizarre. Everything about this is bizarre. So just keep listening, to the point where it ended up affecting my eyesight. It did. I was not only having shaking energy is what it felt like. Didn't hurt. It was like, felt like there was energetic shakes going on. And when with my eyes closed, I could see a white light above my head, and it would circle. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my finger. It would circle on this kind of, it was just a, I don't know. So I would watch it. Turns out maybe that made my eyes strain or affected my eyesight, or maybe the hemis, I don't know. But I ended up, my vision became blurry. And I was like, out of everything else, I gotta lose my eyesight too. Like, especially during a time where I was just reading constantly because I had all these guests coming up and I was reading their books to have interviews with them. And I was having my eyeglasses didn't work anymore, and I would drive down the street, and the signs on the expressway were blurry. And I was so sad that I was just like, not only were I having these terrible symptoms, but I was now having eyesight issues. It added to my despair. I don't think I have ever been this dark in my life. And I have to say, I thought I already went through a dark night of the soul. I thought I had gone through that. I thought that that was the one of the things I had accomplished in my spiritual awakening was experiencing the dark night of the soul. But ladies and gentlemen, it gets worse. I had what I think is a very much of a dark night of the soul experience. Had a I lost myself this summer, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a lot of tools in my toolbox to get myself out of this situation. I had done everything, the peptides, the ozone, the saunas. I done so much. Plant medicine, combo. I mean, there's a long list. Um, so it was dark. I ended up well, let me say this. My first bright light, I started getting a little bit better in September. And during this time, I also started doing a new health thing that um was one of the tricks that I hadn't pulled out of my bag yet. A few years ago, I found out about this um shot. You can't get it in America. Probably because it works, ladies and gentlemen. They use it for autism. They use it for cancer, viruses, bacteria, parasites. Um, it works with a protein that your body already has and vitamin D as well. And it is an immune system regulator, and it boosts your it boosts your immune system. I started very expensive, but I started doing it's a 6-month treatment. I started in June. So in June, I started injecting myself twice a week with this stuff. Just ordered it like under no doctor supervision. I don't even know. It might not even have been legit. I could have injected myself with some sort of whatever. I don't know. But it was awfully expensive. And, anyways, it's not something that alleviates your symptoms or your illness overnight. It has to get in and start your body has to start working with it. So during this whole time where I was injecting myself, I was not really feeling any much better at all. I was feeling very terrible daily. I mean, the inflammation in my body, I would get up in the morning and look like I had two black eyes. Like I just anyways, let's move forward. So, my first bright light after just losing myself and who I was and everything was I was going to go home in September for one of my friends' weddings. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I should go. I'm mentally not well, and I'm um scared that if I do go, it might make me worse. What if I get worse symptoms? I didn't know. But I decided to go. I hadn't been home in a decade. I hadn't been home. And I was like, I'm gonna go. And going home and spending time with people that have known me my whole life. And I grew up in a situation where I am very good friends with a lot of people that have known me my whole life. Like I went to the same kindergarten up into high school, and it was like small town. We all we all know each other to this day. And that did my heart, lifted my spirits more than I will ever be able to tell you, was to go home and remember who you are. It's like I remembered who I was. I was like, oh, yes, I I am. This is who I am, this is who I used to be. And it helped me tremendously. And I went that weekend. It was like the spirits came in and helped me. I didn't have any problems. I didn't have any symptoms that weekend, to the point where I thought, is this psychosomatic? Like, what is going on? I do not know. Um, but I had a weekend that allowed me to um, have a glimmer of hope that I was going to get normal life back, that I was going to be able to get through this. Um, and then October, October came and I was ready for my quantum healing session that was taking place in Durango, Colorado. So I flew out there the night before. This this entire time, you have to understand, my whole summer was hinging on, I knew I was going to be um, better in October, that quantum healing was going to take it away. It was gonna happen for me. And I just knew it. I just knew that was going to be my thing. I was going to heal. And I went and I had a healing session. And I don't think I'm somebody that can go under hypnosis very easy. I think I'm not one of those people that can get into a relaxed trance mode very easy, which is that's something that you have to get into if you're going to tap into the quantum. You do have to get into that brainwave pattern that allows you to hook up into that world and transmit energy, information, illness, all of it. Um, I don't think I was able to get there. So I came home from that session, hopeful still, because I was like, oh, maybe it'll take a week or two for it to do its thing. And I listened to the quantum healing session because they record it for you and they tell you to play it back, and then it really helps with your subconscious mind to understand. I did all that and I wasn't healed. And it was really, yet again, just the most devastating time in my life. Like, I just thought it put me back into I don't want to be here mode. It put me back into I I can't stay here like this. This is not my life. This is not the life I want to live. And it was hard, you know. But I think that's when I first started just um surrendering to my symptoms and surrendering to where I was and letting go of control. And I started listening a lot to Neville Goddard, to Abraham Hicks, almost exclusively. My new spiritual routine through this whole transformational year was I started getting up, and instead of turning on the television, which I have done for decades, for my whole life, put on the news, put on the TV, put on a song, put something on. I spent most of my time alone and in utter silence. I would get up, make a cup of coffee, go out onto my porch, sit there. I was constantly trying to be present. I was constantly trying to um, ask for guidance. You know, I, I can't tell you how many days I spent alone and in silence. I mean, I have had a year that add, add on to all of this, the fact that I work in the movie industry and that uh, I haven't worked even now. It's December. I haven't worked since July. That, and in a way, it was a godsend because I couldn't have worked. I emotionally, physically, mentally could not have taken a job. My job's way too rigorous and way too demanding for me to be in the condition that I was in. I just wouldn't have made it. So I am in a situation where I should be completely and totally stressed out about money, the lack of work, where I'm going. And yet I was so preoccupied with my health and so preoccupied with trying to figure out how I was going to heal myself. What am I going to do now? I was doing my shots. I was crying a lot. I have shed more tears this year than I have in a lifetime. And not just cry, like deep bellows from the depth of my soul crying, mourning the loss of my life, mourning the loss of who I was. And, I had lost myself a long time. I have been through so much this last decade of my life before I got sick. And the person that's going to be coming on um, is like the part two of this episode, knew me very well before I got sick. And I wasn't perfect. I certainly um, had my issues. I loved to drink. I loved to be I loved to party. I mean, there was not a party that I didn't love. My life was a party. I had spent the most of my life in party mode. For better or for worse. I did. I was loud. I was energetic. I was vibrant. I was famous for my laugh. People knew me for my laugh. Oh, Busby, here she comes. Loud, Busby. I was loud. I was like, you know, I was a force, if you want to say. And I completely transformed into somebody that was angry, that was mean almost. Just quick story, quick little side note. This year on the show, I was sitting in the assistant director trailer, working on my call sheet, and Liz, who was my base camp AD, who was running the actors for the show, said to me, Busby, I keep waiting to hear your laugh. Patrick tells me, oh my God, you're working with Busby? You're going to love her. She's so loud, and her laugh, you just wait till you hear her laugh. You're going to die laughing. And she said, I've been working with you now for 3 months and I haven't heard you laugh once. And I was like, oh, yeah, I did used to laugh a lot. I was this vibrant woman who was, just full of laughter and fun and lighthearted and loved everyone. And I had turned into somebody that was the total opposite of that. Also, doesn't help that through my health crisis, I was with somebody that um, gaslit me and was super toxic, negative, and that can't help. That energy can't help but affect you when you're living with somebody for years. So it was everything. But that was the first time I realized I really truly had lost who I was. I was not the woman, the person, the individual I used to be. And even though I feel like I'm all right, so let's move on from that. So October, no quantum healing. I surrendered. I started listening to Neville Goddard and Abraham Hicks. I just was deciding that I was going to manifest my own cure. That was the only thing I had left. I was doing my GCMAF shots. I was um I was just going to live as if it already happened, lived as if I was already cured, lived as if I were the most healthy person. I'm saying affirmations every day. I'm meditating on every day. I'm speaking the words every day. I'm constantly listening to Neville Goddard or Abraham Hicks about how to change your reality, how to transform your circumstances. I was like, I'm healed. I'm going to heal it's the only thing I had left. So I started doing that in October. I was really just surrendering to everything and I was getting really even more into spirituality. All this time, I'm recording these podcasts. I am um, learning, I'm reading books, I'm spending all this time alone, and I'm not lonely at all. Like I'm so grateful that I had this time to focus on myself. If I had had a child or a partner or a husband or something, I don't even know how I would have been able to go through this experience in my life. It would have been completely and totally different. Um, all right, so October, I get another chance to go home for my mom's 75th birthday. I go home again, and it is something else that just ignites me and spurs me on and gives me hope and allows me to remember I am loved. It allows me to remember I still am that vibrant, funny girl that I always used to be. It allowed me to remember who I am again. So I did that in October. Now, in November, my next great healing experience that was going to help me was going to a ceremony for ayahuasca. And Brandy, who's been on the show, who she and I have done plant medicine journeys together before, she was like, this is what you need. This is going to level you up. This is going to bring you that healing that you have been looking for. And so, yet again, I got super motivated that this was going to be it. I was going to manifest it. I was thinking, feeling, saying this ayahuasca journey was going to give me the insight as to why this happened to me, what direction am I supposed to be going, and so on and so forth. And this was in November now. And I go to the ceremony and I drank four, four cups of medicine and nothing didn't affect me. Everybody else is like having full on conversations and laughing and having these amazing experiences next to me. And I'm looking around everyone and going, I got tired. I didn't even purge. First time I purged was as after my fourth cup of medicine. I purged and I was tired. And that's it. And that is weird, folks. That's not normal. That's not something that many people experience. So I really did at that point think something spiritually different is going on with me because quantum healing, nothing. Ayahuasca, which I had done before, nothing, didn't even touch me. That's odd. So I came back from that in November, still seeking, still not really, really understanding why I was going through this, still doing the podcast, interviewing people, having great conversations, learning new concepts. And I decided that now let me back up. I stopped working with my pendulum probably in October because weird things started happening in the house, like my Bluetooth speaker would start going on because I wasn't smart enough to do like spiritual hygiene. I was just using it no matter what and not like, going into it more with a divine light and making sure you're only your highest and greatest was coming through. And one day I woke in the middle of the night, my literally living room curtains came out of the wall and crashed to the floor. I ended up putting that pendulum outside. To this day, I have not brought that pendulum back in the house. That's kind of how weird things started happening. Um, anyways, so I decided in November to go sit with a psychic medium. And I had sat with her before. It had been over a year. And I wanted to ask her, like, why haven't I gotten any healing? What is going on with me? Maybe she's supposed to be able to talk to my spirit guides. And I wanted to ask my spirit guides, what is going on with me? Why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me? I don't understand. Where is my life going? And she didn't offer me a lot either, but what she did say was this. She said, "Honey, Spirit is telling me you can heal yourself." And she did tell me to use sacred geometry, use crystals and stones, um, put them in a fashion intuitively. And she told me to say these words over this crystal stone sacred geometry structure that I built. I'll put a picture of it up. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll show it to you. It's still up. So I built that. I did my intentions, my mantras over it, and she said, "Just leave it and it'll work some magic for you." Now, I left that session not feeling very excited because I didn't really get any real insight, and I didn't really believe that if I put together a sacred geometry crystal stone structure and said some words over it, that it was going to help my decades-long health issues. But I did it. I did it because, like I said, there is really not anything I won't do if somebody tells me to do it. You think it'll help me? Okay, I'm doing it. And I did. And jury's out. I don't know. I think it probably did help me. So here we are. I am now feeling a lot better. The GCMAF, I think, has really helped me a lot. I'm still having symptoms, but they're not every single day, soul crushing, can't get out of bed, exhausted, like uh, like just dark. I'm not having the level of dark days. The dark worst of my days probably ended end of October. So I spent July to October. I would say I called it a cruel summer. It was just nuts. Um, but this podcast, I was getting responses, lots of positive stuff. The universe has helped me. And I do talk about this on the podcast a lot. This universe has supported me in this podcast like I can't even tell you. They really, really have. It's almost like it's done. I have, it's, I can't explain it. I can't even talk. I'm and all over the place. It, I, it is just unbelievable how easily it all came together and how well it is all turned out, bearing in mind that I literally just came up with an idea to do a podcast, and I do everything myself, gang. I I write it, I direct it, I produce it, I do the promotions for it, and it's not the most popular podcast out there, but being that I don't have a producer and I don't have a team and I don't have anyone out there assisting me in this journey, it has gone remarkably well, in my opinion. You know, maybe my expectations are low, but like I didn't know. I had no expectations when I started doing this. I really didn't. It just kind of came to me to do it. Kind of like a download, I think. Anyways, this brings me to the end of the year, guys. This brings me to the end of the year. This brings me to Thursday of last week. And this brings me to the guests that I'm going to have to the part 2 of this show. Spiritually, I feel like I have gone through a dark night of the soul. I feel like I have transformed myself. I have to say, I am so filled with gratitude, love, joy, you know, any level of anger or negativity. I don't feel like that anymore. I literally have just found myself again this year. I have a sense of joy in my life that I can't explain. Nothing really has changed except me. I'm still jobless. I still have nothing coming up next year. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't not work forever. I got to go get a job. But at the same time, for whatever reason, maybe this needed to happen in my life. Kellie JoTackett's coming on next. And she's going to bring her boyfriend, Nashad, who I just met last Thursday. They've been dating like 2 years, and I just met him. Kellie and I We have been friends for over 20 years. She works in the movie industry with me. We drove across the country together from Miami to LA to work on movies. Like, she knows me. She knows who I was, who I am. She doesn't know the spiritual me very well. She knows the me that, loved to party. I used to get kicked out of everywhere I went. I would get kicked out. I would. I just had it. I'm so loud. I would just get asked to leave. Manager would come over. I don't know. I'm I'm different. So she knew me for a long time, and then we kind of drifted apart for, many years. Friendships, they go through um evolutions. But I saw her last Thursday, and we experienced something, and I never thought I would ever have her on the show. She's not a very spiritual person. I'm gonna ask her actually what she believes about spirituality. I don't know. But we used to be great drinking buddies though, let me tell you. The best drinking buddies out there. Till I got sick. But anyways, guys, I've never done a two-part podcast, but I'm just gonna say when I edit this together, I don't know. Stay tuned for part two. All I will say is this. What do you say? I can't even say it out loud. It's so weird. Basically, it's kind of crazy. Stand by. Here comes Kellie and Nashad, and we will talk about our Thursday. And you guys, you're going to have to judge for yourself. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, bye. Welcome, everyone, to the part two of the end of the year episode on the F.A.T.E podcast. Joining me for the second half is Kellie JoTackett, one of my near and dear friends. She's an assistant director, and we've been working in the movie industry for the last 20 years. And recording artist, Nashad Penchal. Now, you might be wondering why there's a part two on my show, and why do I have an assistant director and a recording artist sitting there when this is a spiritual based podcast. And, I know part one, I was talking about my journey this year, and Kellie, I'll just do a little recap for you guys. You don't know this because, Kellie and I have, although we've been friends for 20 something years, she doesn't know a lot about what I went through with my illness. She doesn't know a lot about what I went through with my spiritual journey. We've been ebbing and flowing. We just haven't been, dancing in the same direction for a while. But I was telling everyone what I had a very bad relapse with my health this year. And from like June to September of this year, I was the most dark I have ever been. And the only person I really talked to about it really was my mom and maybe Brandy. Other than that, nobody knew. But I have had one of the most terrible years of my life. I was lost. I was in despair. I mean, I was dark, and I was doing all of these things from meditation to working with pendulums to trying to cure myself with quantum healing. I'm going to do ayahuasca in November, drank 4 cups of medicine. Didn't even touch me. Didn't touch me. And then I knew right then something was blocking me spiritually, because you don't drink 4 cups of medicine, ayahuasca, and just feel tired. That doesn't happen. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in my life, I have had my first mystical, magical moment that I can't explain. It is like, so Kellie and Nashad are here to talk about it. I don't even know how to say it out loud other than say, Kellie and I on Thursday, she came over. She lives in Beverly Hills. I live in Hollywood. She came over. We were going to spend the day together. hiking in Griffith Park and whatnot. And we did. We had a lovely day, came over, got a bite to eat, hiked up to Griffith Park. We came back to my house and we have a fire pit outside and we were having a couple of drinks, hanging out, talking about spirituality, life, whatever, having a great conversation. And honestly, Kelly, I really think that I should let you or tell the story even more than me because it just makes sense. So what events took place on Thursday at my house? Why don't you tell your story?
Okay, I will. Well, as Bucky said, we had a lovely day, nothing out of the ordinary, other than it was really kind of magical when we were walking up Griffith Park but to see we were just being very attentive to nature. And we noticed this one tree where there were all these crows and ravens. This tree was dead in the middle of all this lush, green, beautiful forest. It was crazy. So we were kind of commenting on that and like making parallels. And Busby knows because we both work in the same business. It's been quite brutal and the last few years, which really has led me to try to hold on to my sanity and be more open. And I have reached out to Busby, knowing that Busby was on a spiritual journey. I'm not a religious person, but I'm very much into energy. I'm very much into what kind of energy you put out, you get back. And I'm not all up to speed on like the speakers and people that really have done research and done years of research in it, like Jay Shetty and Joe Dispenza and these people. But like I didn't know where to go. So I've been reaching out to Busby more lately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm curious about this. I know that you've been delving into this for a few years now. You have more knowledge than me. Give me the cliff notes because me being lazy. And I want, everybody wants the shortcut to feel good. Like we all want a shortcut. But more than that, it's just that as I become older, you realize what you don't know. And because when we're younger, we think we fucking know everything. But then the world we get really small and we realize how small we are when we thought we were so big, but we get small thinking there's so much more out there. And Busby started this podcast and I've listened to a couple of the episodes. I follow her on YouTube. I'm like interested in it. So we're kind of delving into those conversations during the day. Nashad came over and we were going to go home together and he's giving me a ride. And I stand up. We're kind of like the nice winding down. And this butterfly just comes out, this little butterfly, maybe like this big, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Just like out of Busby and flies around her. And I'm like, it's there. It was physical.
Mhm.
And it looked like it went up into the light. I'm like, did you see that? Busby didn't see it. Nashad and I both saw like physical. I literally wanted to catch it because I wanted to show her. It was as real as this water bottle, as real as I'm touching Nashad. It was just, but glowing, I want to say. Like just glowing like it was light, but I couldn't tell if it was like the fire pit reflecting off of a white butterfly like that, or if it was light itself. But it literally flew out and over her head and up onto this like string of lights that you had in decoration.
Yeah.
And then the flowers there that was on the trellis and then just disappeared out of nowhere. And I'm like, is that because we're speaking on this? I'm open to it. I'm open to seeing it. Like, I think there's so many things in this world that we don't see because we're not open to it. And I think these energies and these sources and this stuff is around. And the more I learn, it's there for us to tap into, but it's just like, just on the edge, you can't touch it. But when you see something like that, you can't deny that it's real. It's fucking tangible. I want you to tell your experience of it because I was just so excited. I was just like, did you see that? Like it was like freaking crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about it. I wish I would have seen it. I didn't see it. All I remember is you looking at Nashad and saying, "Did you see that?" And Nashad said something like, "Yeah, the butterfly." She's like, "You saw the butterfly." You were like, "Confirmed." So, Nashad, why don't you? What did you see that day, Nashad?
Well, we're fast forwarding. We went around the fire pit. We were around the fire pit. I was asking Kelly, actually, I was like, is this fire pit like actual or gas? And she was like, it's gas burning. And so when we were all conversing, I was zoning in and out. I was paying attention. And then all of a sudden, when I'm just like, I'm zoning out, staring at what you guys talking, and then the butterfly comes out of your hand while you're doing like this or something, and it flies up. And honestly, I wasn't going to say that I saw anything.
Because you thought you were sure.
Yeah, because like, like you said, it's just on the edge. There's so many times where you see something, but since there's no one else there to bounce that off of, it's either insignificant or it's or you like, oh, that was weird. Okay, cool. Or you continue on your day.
You tell yourself that you're seeing things other than it is real.
Mhm.
But there's no fucking way I projected something strong enough for him to see.
Exactly.
We both saw it at the exact
Mhm.
same time.
Yeah.
And then it went away.
I mean, it's mind-boggling and mind-blowing, and I don't know what it means. All I can say is this, is since Thursday, I have felt emotionally, physically, mentally different. I don't know I don't know. I think it's still unfolding. I don't know if I'll ever know what that was. But when I went back and looked, because I took a bunch of videos of Kelly and I out hiking and all of this stuff, and we took a bunch of pictures, and almost in all of my photos, even the ones in Griffith Park and the ones by the fire, you can see a green orb following us everywhere in the videos. And when hopefully, people that are watching this on or listening on Spotify or Amazon or Apple or whatever, find me on YouTube, because I am going to present you with pictures of this orb, so well defined. It is so well defined. You can see the inside workings of this energetic being, whatever it was. But I have felt this whole episode I've been talking about my health this year and how it was worse than ever, and now I'm finally coming out of it, and my symptoms have gotten a lot better. Like even before Thursday, I was like, okay, I'm on the other side of this. I was having a little bit of symptoms here and there, but I can function. I'm ready to go back to work. I can do this. When I would get some symptoms, I would just, medicate a little, take something. I have some stuff that I take that'll make me feel better. Since Thursday, I haven't had to take shit. I haven't had a symptom. I haven't had anything. And all year, I've been trying to manifest my cure, manifest my health all year. And I had already had such a transformative uh, year with my health and evolutions and all of these different spiritual practices that I've started adopting into my life, and just completely getting out of the 3D matrix that we call life, and kind of just having such a higher perspective on what we're doing. And like Kelly can attest to who I was before I got sick. Like there wasn't a beer I didn't like to drink. I would get kicked out of mostly everywhere I went. How many times did you have to leave somewhere? You were out with me, and I
didn't count.
I mean, numerous times. I was now, Kelly, honestly, I can't even imagine getting kicked out of anywhere. I mean, I'm just so different than what I used to be. And since Thursday, I can't explain it. The other thing is, people are going to say maybe we conjured this up together, maybe to promote my show or like, I don't know, like number one, I don't even know Nashad. Like that was the first time I ever met you was on Thursday, and you guys have been dating what, like 2 years or something like that. So it's not like you and I are super tight. I just met your boyfriend of 2 years on Thursday. Why would you jeopardize your career as an assistant director, yours as a recording artist, to tell my, my listeners that a butterfly flew out of me? Like, why would we do
You
that?
know why I would do it? Because
Why?
always looking for signs. Always like, give me a sign, give me a sign, need a sign.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to have faith. We're supposed to have faith. We're supposed to have faith. We're supposed to
Yeah.
have faith. I am the most pragmatic. Like, you gotta show me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need proof. I need proof. And then I'm like, and that's why I've been trying to tap in to my own, like, my own energy, my own spirit in a way that doesn't have to be physical. So I have more faith. So I have more, not in a religious sense, more in just an accepting sense, more in a non-judgmental way, more I'm being open to possibilities way, and not having to be like beaten down to get to the next level. My affinity to want to control everything keeps me so limited. So the one thing that I will say that was nice about getting out into nature and nice about having that experience that we did is because you let go of that control a little bit when you're talking about faith, when you're talking about possibilities of spirituality, when you're talking about something else. It was almost like a reward for having opened my mind for a minute of the possibility of something to keep me going along this journey of learning of a higher energy source, to tap into the higher energy source. I mean, there's multi-million-dollar companies like what is it? Mind Valley, you know, different conglomerations of people that are getting together and talking about these experiences and talking about this energy. And I'm always like, oh, they're just trying to sell me something. They're trying to sell me something. Even though I like it and I like listening to it, I'm like, they want me to buy it. They are. So you feel put off. But I didn't have a dog in that race. I was there to have fun and have, like, you weren't trying to sell me something. You weren't. That's what made it so crazy. It's like the fact that I let down my guard. You're not trying to sell me anything. But like, no, it was just being in the moment, actually being still and like just loving everybody that I was with. And I keep feeling the energy, feeling the energy that was present there. Nobody wanted anything or anyone. We were just enjoying each other's company. It was just loving that energy and that acceptance and being open to it, that maybe that's around you all the time, but I was able to see it.
Yeah.
Because I fucking saw the butterfly. I mean, it's like happened. And there's, we can't even coordinate getting out of the house at the same time. There's no fucking way we never coordinate seeing one thing at the exact same time with the exact same thing. I mean, we can have the best laid plan and we'll go about it backwards. You know, I mean, it just doesn't happen. It was this burst of energy, burst of light, manifested into a butterfly, a physical thing that I could see and touch. And I actually tried to catch it and just went. It was just insane.
You know what? I think it was one of those things where it's just like faster than, like, say you did react.
Yeah.
I would have just been faster than, exactly. Yeah. Almost right out of reach.
Yeah.
I was just like, what you said. Yeah, exactly.
It was amazing.
I don't know what it means. I mean, butterflies, they use is like supposed to be like a symbol of like transformation or, new beginnings or. I tell you what, I definitely cocooned my ass this year in spirituality, in meditation, in my own journey of trying to save myself. Like, I was so fucking dark this year. I was lost. I had never been this dark and I was alone. I literally, it was a cruel summer for me. And I really did a lot of shadow work on myself. And I started reflecting about how angry I become over the last few years and reflecting on maybe I wasn't such a great person in that circumstance or this circumstance, or maybe I feel like I went through an ego death. Like I lost my ego. I lost my arrogance. I just didn't understand who I was anymore. So I have been through all this, and for a butterfly to fly out of me at the end of the year just is such a metaphorical mind fuck of transformation. And since then, I haven't had one symptom. Not one. I feel this lift in me. I feel good. Like it's just so, and I don't even know, I know I'm saying it on the podcast, but I haven't told anybody else a butterfly flew out of me because I didn't see it.
Well,
It's like I would need you and Nashad with me all the time to back me up on it. Like I can't put you in my pocket and carry you around with me.
well, your butterflies. You don't store well. Though.
I'm
They
sorry.
don't store well. You don't.
No. I mean, I can only you hear people having these moments, these magical moments that you can't explain, or these mystical episodes. I talk to so many people that are energy healers and mediums and psychics. And even this year, I had a woman named Kimberly Meredith on my show earlier this year, and they call her the hands-on healer, and she lays her hands on people and she heals them. So when I didn't tell this story on my part one of the show, but earlier in the year, I started feeling like either maybe I had a dark energy attached to me because I was so messed up. I was psychologically not well. I felt like something was going on with me energetically. I'd been playing with this pendulum. Weird things were happening in the house. So anyways, I called Kimberly Meredith, who I had a podcast interview with. And I said, Kimberly, I'm seeking some advice from you. I feel like I have an energy or something attached to me. My life just doesn't seem normal anymore. And she immediately called me back, and she was getting ready to step into a book signing because she was releasing a book, The Fifth Dimension. And she said, hey, darling, I wanted to call you. I'm about to step into an interview, but my eyes started blinking, so I knew I needed to call you. When her eyes blink, that is spirit talking to her. Her eyes starts blinking. She's like, so when I got your voicemail, my eyes started blinking, so I knew I needed to call you. She said, come into the office for a session. And I said, Kimberly, I'm not working right now. I don't have any money. I'm broke. And she's like, it's okay. It's fine. We'll just, you can just promote me, or we'll do it on trade or whatever. She's like, come into the office. I want to see you. So set a time. We go in there. I sit down. She puts her hands on me or whatever. And she said a couple of things. She said, one, that I had an energy close to my neck that she removed. She said, you have an injured knee. I took care of that. And she fixed my digestive issues. For years, I've had really poor gut health. I don't want to get into my systemic movements, but not normal. For years, I've had struggles. And she sent me home. She said, look, you're going to need to put some ice on your stomach for a few days. She's like, keep ice on it. She said, but I healed your stomach there. It's fine. And sure as shit, you guys, my stomach hurt. And she didn't do anything but put her hands on me, and she had me say some words. She put her hands on me. Her eyes were blinking. She does the blinky thing. And I will go to my grave. That woman healed my gut. She healed my knee, and whatever energy that was on me came off me. And I saw her in, I can't remember, October, November, something like that of this year. So I know that I talk to healers all the time. I've met so many super magical people on this show. And not that I think magic rubs off on you, but like I don't know. I go back to the orb. There was some sort of orb that you guys will all see. Every single audience member will see the orbs on video. They'll see it. Like, you saw the picture
Yeah.
that I took of it. You can tell it's not a. You and I work in the movie industry.
Yeah.
That was not a flare in the
No, no.
lens, you know?
Hey, I'm
That,
planting a
that,
flag for you.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You know, like that was not a flare, a sun flare. That was nothing. I mean, what did you guys talk about on the way home? Did you talk about the butterfly coming out of
We're
me at all?
tripping.
Yeah.
And Leslie, it goes back to, you were saying you talked to Kimberly and, there's the
Mhm.
healers. I think that you can't see anything or do anything until you think it's a possibility and your mind's open to it. And I think through my journey of trying to seek a reason for why all this stuff has happened at this point in my life, and also to try to take care of, as you get older, you start, all kinds of cool things happen to you that you can't explain, and you start to be like, there has to be more in this life than what I've experienced. And I don't want to go out blind to it or stupid and not know. Although I don't know where I'm going next, I know I'm not just going to go away like some people think. I think my energy will go somewhere else.
Oh, for sure.
That's my beliefs. So I think I'm always trying to tap into this energy, but sometimes your mind's not in the right place. We happen to be talking about energy all day long. Me asking you to explain some of your things to me asking you to talk to me about some of the people that you'd interviewed because they had some great experiences. I think that we don't see things because we're told that we don't. And I think as a child, you see all kinds of things and you're open to all kinds of things. And that's why they say spirits talk to kids, because they don't rule them out. And I think that as adults, just like as our personalities form, we're told all of our restraints that we need to be in, and all these boxes that we need to check to be successful, to be normal, to be whatever. And if you're an artist like you and I are, and Nashad is, and we're trying to always push the boundaries, we're always getting pushback from everything. You can be great, but don't be that great. You can be this, but tone it down so it doesn't offend anyone. Like, from the minute you open your eyes in the day, there's signs telling you what you can and can't do, or where you can and can't go. And I think in that one beautiful moment, we were just talking about energy and the possibility of things. And maybe we had the blessing of seeing something that's there a lot more than we think it is, and we just don't see it. But for that one moment, when we all had our guard down and we weren't trying to give reasons that things need to be physical, and we weren't trying to give reasons of what we can and can't do, or we weren't trying to give reasons of anything, we were just kind of sitting there all in love, like just all loving the vibe.
Well,
we were open to this energy.
We were
Yes.
present. We were present. We were present in the moment. We weren't thinking about the fact, where's our next job coming, or what happened last year, or what's going to happen next year. It was, we were all experiencing the moment for what it was, and we were literally just present right there in the moment. And
Another thing I'm thinking, like, why you don't see things when they're actually there. I mean, maybe there are more things around us and available to us, but we're so busy thinking about an hour from now, or the meeting that we have next Tuesday, or this big important job interview, or what happened last week that pissed me off, or someone cut me off on the road, that we just don't see all these amazing things. It was just the exact right setup for us to be able to share this experience, because we're not in the moment 90% of the time.
Agreed. And I also think I talk on this show so much about how one's belief system can literally hold them back from so many things in life, and that we are very much programmed to not believe in things like this. We are so, it is beat out of us from the day we get into our schooling until we're adults. And the very first episode of this show, I said to the audience, I think that we are more powerful than what we think we are. I don't think we know our true nature or our true history of how we became and what is really the foundations of our entire reality. And you guys seeing a butterfly fly out of me, it really does speak that we are much less matter and much more holographic, almost energetic. And
Yes.
because if it was only matter that we were and we were physical hard matter, and our reality and everything around us was physical hard matter, there's no way that a butterfly would just be able to appear. I mean, that just sounds crazy. I don't even know if I'll ever be able to tell that story because it sounds like I'm crazy when I
It would
say
have to be a group crazy.
yeah.
That's its name. It mass hysteria. Like, well, it was real, unplanned, not insinuated, no way put in my mind of anything. There was no suggestion of anything. No, we weren't talking about butterflies. It wasn't like we had talked about butterflies earlier in the day. There was nothing to do with butterflies that we were talking about. That's why I know it was real. It wasn't like you're like, close your eyes and picture a butterfly. None of that shit happened. It was spontaneous, energetic light that was physical manifestation of something.
Nashad, let me ask you, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Like, have you really actually thought about the ramifications of a butterfly virtually appearing out of nowhere? Like, what does that mean for your own perspective on what you feel like reality is in general? Or I don't know if you have religious beliefs, or I don't know you very well, so I'm not sure what your foundations and your spiritual beliefs are, but like, what is your take on all this?
Honestly, seeing it, I think I had the same effect as you, where since Thursday, it's like I feel very grounded again. And so seeing that, there's a lot of cool things I've seen in my life, and it's my mom is very spiritual as well, and she's very focused on energy. So it's kind of raised my entire life in this spiritual
We should say your background.
kind of journey. Yeah, my mom's Hindu, and I used to be, and then I became an agnostic, and then I just believed in energy, and I got really spiritual. But I was always taught to be spiritual as a kid, and in the Indian culture, it is very spiritual.
So do you see yourself going back to your roots and getting back into Hinduism? Like, do you, I mean, because like it is weird. It did happen. Like, it does kind of break your idea of what we are in a way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I took a class in college about all religions, and after like learning about like there were the main religions and also some like extra ones like um the witchcraft one, Wiccan and stuff like that. I just kind of realized I don't really like I like finding out religion like through my own. Like I would never read the Bible if someone told me to. But like now I would read it just to like, learn how what are those stories? Parables. How parables have changed or stayed the same from all that time to now.
But I think it's interesting because I think all religions use parables to tell their story. You know, I mean, even like from the oldest, you go back to Muslim, Israeli, Jewish culture, you go back to the oldest religions to the newest religions. And I think you're going to find there's common threads.
Mhm.
In written religions, you can see common threads and stories. It changes up to fit the audience,
Right.
you know. So it's definitely tailored for the audience. But if you took just the common thread for all, fucking be a good fucking person,
Right.
you know.
Yes.
But
Yes.
people don't behave like that without a set of rules because we're in this box, because we feel like we need rules to live, because we've been conditioned to this. So when you break all that down, that's when you have these beautiful moments,
Mhm.
because you're not saying that something can't happen without XYZ. This can't happen without this. You're not going to go to heaven if you don't do this. You're not going to have
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
experience. You can't have that experience if you don't do this. It was none of that. It was just like we were just talking about open possibilities, none of which included a butterfly, but manifested itself that way. I don't know if there's a thing as like a collective energy or something. Like, I don't know if there's like, it was just like the perfect storm of being open and being relaxed and comfortable and not being on edge of anything, and just being in that moment of wanting to be a more aware, more conscious person. And like, we were just talking about so many different things, but basically the idea that the universe is so amazing and extraordinary and vast, and we're so little in it, but there's so much more to us than we are allowed to express. But then you see certain people that are go way above and beyond. It's like, I want to be like that, you know, like this healer, Kimberly. What an amazing fucking thing to be able to realize that gift. But I'm sure something had to happen to her. She had to have an experience.
Oh
for
yeah, she
that.
died.
See, I don't know
She
her story,
died.
but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just,
So
there has
yeah,
to be
she died.
as Oprah would say, an aha moment
Yeah.
for you
Yeah.
to say, oh, this is possible. Because we're told only things are possible if you do blah, 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 blah.
It's so true. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like this experience is leading me back to a church. Like, it's not like it's leading me back to, you know, I
No,
think
it's
for me,
awareness.
it is. It's allowing me to understand that we are so much more magical, metaphysical than we ever thought. I kind of feel like there isn't anything that I can't manifest. I kind of feel like a lot of it, I've been saying this a long time, like energy, frequency, vibration, your thoughts,
Yes.
your emotions dictate your reality.
Yes.
And I think if more people understood, rather than, and I've said it a gazillion times, this is just such the perfect ending to the year for this episode, from the things that I've been talking about all year, and I'll say them again now, is that your thoughts and your feelings dictate what happens on your outside. And if people understood that, rather than just feeling any emotion that they wanted to feel without any kind of consciousness or awareness, it is such a detrimental way to live your life, because you are building the future with every emotion you have. I want to say that again. You are building your future with every positive or negative emotion you have. And I think that if the world could really harness that, we could fundamentally change everything on this planet, with people just being a little more conscious about what they're thinking, what they're speaking. You're speaking words, you're spelling, you're manifesting with your words.
And so you're not
And
just what you speak out loud, but what your internal
Say,
thoughts.
yes,
Your internal
yes,
dialogue is real too. It's just as loud as the
yes.
words you say.
You are giving off a signal
Yeah.
to the universe, and you should be in constant awareness of what that signal is, because it will, the universal law of attraction, like attracts like. You are going to harness things and pull them into your reality, whether you like it or not, based on all of those parameters. And the fact that I manifested a butterfly out of me after I've been working so hard this year for coming back from the pit of despair and being so dark and doing the work. I have done so much work, from completely changing my daily routines, from being somebody that used to um, get up in the morning, turn the TV on, not at all think about how I was thinking, feeling, saying, just not being conscious, to literally from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I am so much more present. I sit in gratitude every morning. I sit in silence 90% of my time. I hardly ever put a TV on. I hardly ever listen to anything except spiritual stuff. Like, I listen to a lot of Neville Goddard. I listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks, Dolores Cannon, channelers. Like, I have been just doing so much work on myself this year that it makes sense that something magical was going to happen at some point. But I mean, who would have known? Like, that a butterfly would have appeared. Like, it's such a great, beautiful symbolism for my year this year. Like, I think maybe I have reached the transformative place that I've been seeking for so long. But it is, and the fact that I don't have any symptoms. Like, I think that thing got inside me and healed me or something, because I feel fundamentally different, better, more energized, calm, no symptoms. I'm sleeping like a baby. Like, that's like
I love
nuts. And, you're not the only person this year that I've started, because there's so many people in our industry. We're in the film and TV industry, and it's been terrible the last 2 years of our lives. Kellie's been going through a lot of stuff. And then I have other friends in the industry that are also going through a lot of stuff. I have a good friend, Carla, and I can't tell you, she has completely, totally transformed her own life. And I love the fact that my journey is starting to ripple out into my friends a little bit, because Carla's now all in. She gets up, she listens to Joe Dispenza every morning. She's meditating, she's journaling, she's being aware of her thoughts. And now, you know what? That bitch is working in Atlanta, by the way. She got a job. And I think half the reason she got her job is because she started making that change and vibrating higher and allowing good things to, aligning with good. So I want to continue to do this podcast, to talk about these concepts, and I'm going to continue to tell my butterfly story, and I will always, I will always look to you guys to back me up, man. Like,
Yeah, well, it's not even like there's nothing to back you up. It's what happened.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we're the ones that told you.
Yes,
You,
you did. Yeah.
didn't tell us, hey, look at this butterfly and have pop out of me. No. I was like, did you see that? Like totally separate from you. So we experienced seeing it and shared it with you.
Yes,
So
that's true.
that was the experience.
Mm.
It was insane.
That it is insane.
Insane, but real. So
Yes.
not so insane that it didn't happen, because when you believe great things can happen, they can happen, and they can't if you don't. And like I say, I think none of us had our guard up. Everyone had their guard down. Everybody was just feeling good. And it was just being in the moment and really being cognitive and conscious of what you're seeing and feeling and tasting and smelling and being, and just being in that moment to be aware and open your eyes to something. Even though no one was coaching us to do that, that's where our energy was. That's where our level was. That's where our head was just openness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a really, you know, regardless of the butterfly, regardless of the green orb, like we did have a really magical day,
It was.
like we beautiful being out in nature all day. It was sunny California weather. Like I remember even saying to you, like, this is the weather.
Yeah.
This is the weather you want to be hiking in.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
was just such a beautiful day. And, it ended with my first ever mystical, magical experience happening. And I have two people who independently saw a butterfly manifest like out of or would just near
I
me.
think out of you and fly away. It was just like to me, because you were kind of chunked in the shot, it looked like it come out of your stomach, but it could have also come out of your hands because your hands was going like this, because we both know neither one of us can talk without our hands.
True story.
So all I see is this and the butterfly, but she's like facing towards you, but I just see this and I see the butterfly. So it could have been your hands, your stomach, it came from this area, and which, by the way, I was thinking when you said Kimberly, like touched your stomach or healed your stomach,
She did.
maybe that's why it came from this area. Maybe that's
True,
what's
yeah.
transforming. There's something to that, I think,
Yeah.
it all this ties back.
Yeah. I mean, that just gave me chills. Like the whole thing just it gave me chills. It really did.
But it's real.
Nashad,
But it's real.
so I mean, now whenever this is my best advice for all of us in this moment. Now, whenever you feel like something really effed up is happening or you're at your lowest, just remember the butterfly moment and that none of this is real. It's like a holographic like reality that it all lies within. I mean, what a great way to wrap up the end of the year with such like a beautiful story of magic and I mean, I never honestly ever would have thought I would have had you on the show. There'd be no like me and Kelly have no spiritual connections. Like we've been friends forever, but like we run in the movie industry together. We don't run in spiritual land together. So for her to come on the show is so weird in itself. But the fact that we have, we always have the butterflies, Kelly. We can always.
Oh, butterfly. We had some good stories.
Oh my God! Well, we
We
have
have some great stories, but it's all part of the journey. I mean, also had a different experience than you. It's the lessons that you need to learn, and my my worthiness or my self-worth was always wrapped up in how good I did in something. And these past couple years, not having an opportunity to do what I'm so used to doing, which is keeping so busy that I can't be aware of the moment. I can't take personal inventory. I can't open my eyes up to better myself. I've just been on this wheel of how successful can I be? Because I need to be successful because I need to make generational wealth because I have to take care of my daughter. I just have to work. I just have to be best at my job. So if I'm best at my job, that's who I am. And this can define me. To being taken away that opportunity, you're not doing anything. You're just like, well, I better work on myself. I'm not I'm not that fucking great like I think I am if there's not a whole crew or a boss or someone telling you good job on your schedule, good job on that. And you have to tell yourself good job. You're like, well, good job on the floor today.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do? But that's when you have to put in line, I'm not my job.
That's right.
To be better than that. Some people's had enough carry to learn faster than others, and maybe I'm slow to the game, but I'm there. I'm all in. I've been trying to work on myself. I've been trying to connect with my spirituality. That's why I reached out to you too. I had questions.
Yeah.
And you're doing this whole study. You're doing this whole podcast. You're doing like you said. You've done the work.
Oh yeah, I've done the work.
And even though I'm doing my personal work too, we did the mirror work. We went through the book. We've been doing exercises, doing things to make yourself more aware. But until I think, like I said, I like to see stuff. Like you want something tangible, and maybe that was a gift from you subconsciously, from the universe subconsciously
To be like,
to give me, like, you're on the right path.
well, I just thought of that. Here's my thoughts on that whole conversation. One, I do think that maybe this has happened to you. I mean, for me, let's get it. Let's face it. If I never would gotten sick, I would be sitting here with a smoke in one hand, a beer in the other, and I'd be cackling away, living my best life, never thinking about anything, never being conscious about how anybody else around me was feeling, because that's pretty much why I could get kicked out of everywhere. Like,
And
I had no, like I was literally completely it's me, 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 me. So I had to make this transformation. I didn't want to, it wasn't something I was like, I'm really missing something in my life and I really think I need to dig.
no,
No,
it
no, I
well,
never, no. I am virtually completely different person than I was a decade ago. I don't think, act, or feel the same way I used to. I'm not the same person. And I didn't think evolution at my age was that possible. But it is. Transformation happens. And so it's not that I got there sooner. It's I had everybody's, I say this a lot on the show. You have to be shaken to awaken.
well, that's
Nobody comes
what it
across.
is. That's exactly what it
Yes.
is. Like, that's damn right. I have been wanting to be a better person since I become a mother, but everybody has their limits. I also made me busier. It is a lot easier to put oh, look, I made Devin happy. Oh, look, I put Devin in that school. That makes me a good person. So there's a lot of ways to deflect really doing personal inventory
Mhm.
by mile markers that our society sets for us, not what is in us or what we feel good about. And then you come to a screeching halt. Even COVID wasn't as bad as the fucking strikes. We went to work a hell of a lot sooner after COVID than we did the strikes. Pandemic didn't hold us back. We wore masks and gloves and worked in a miserable existence. But not being able to work forced me to stop and do some personal inventory.
Yep.
And like how I thought that was going to pan out and how that panned out couldn't be more different. But what I will tell you is it definitely puts the fucking prod behind you to like, if this is what you're relying on to make you feel good, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So I started diving deeper and started because I didn't want to feel that shitty. I didn't want to feel like I'm worthless because I'm not working. That's a sucky feeling. So all that other shit you do doesn't mean anything. That's bullshit. And do you really need other people to validate you? Then you're empty. You need to start seeking something else. But like, I don't know.
I mean, we had some beautiful conversations. Like, I think that you are in your own transformational part. I think this happened to you for a reason. Like, it's happened to me too. Like, we're in the same industry. I was at a different spot in my journey when it happened. I had already gotten so like even last year, in 2023 during the strikes, I worked one job and then I was down for the year. And when I was down for the year, I kept saying, well, I'm going back to work in February. I'm going back to work in February. I told everybody and their grandma I was going back to work in February in 2023. And I went motherfucking back to work in February. I manifested that shit. And then my symptoms came back around April and I went through another horrible, dark transformation where I literally cocooned myself with the most terrible thoughts about not wanting to be here, cocooning myself all year in this house by myself. I mean, you want to talk dark, man? I have had a dark year, and it is through just doing the goddamn work, changing how I live my life, changing how I treat people, changing what I think about myself, changing my habits, have I come back from a terrible point. Now, don't get me wrong. I can't have any more of these moments. Like, I'm at the end of my rope with my dark night of the soul moments. I need better days to be ahead for me. I need that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 2025 is going to be my comeback year. It has to be. It has to. The last decade of my life has been such a, not all bad, some good stuff, whatever. I've felt good, I felt terrible, but like, I need a good long run of good health, of good creative juices to launch myself into the next phase, whether that be this show, whether it be doing something else creative. I don't know where my journey is going, but I do know this. I am in full control of what's happening for me. I'm living in the moment. I'm surrendering to everything, and I am constantly using affirmations, meditation, and my own energy to launch myself into the next best place. So you're on that journey now too. I think you're learning to surrender. I think
Hard.
you need
Hard.
it. I do not, I'm not jealous of you. It's hard to go through. It's a lot of
What's so hard?
shadow
Letting
work,
letting
work.
go
Yes.
of having the control. And even though you say you're in control of your journey, I understand what you mean by that now or reading stuff.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you're out in control of your outside things. It means you're in control of how you feel about those outside things. I used to get that confused because if you don't know, you don't know. And if you haven't read about it, you won't know. And if you don't know, you think, no, I feel bad because this happened. I get that.
No.
But what you have to get is how you react to it and how much you let it affect you and how long you stay in that moment.
That's
Like
right.
not
That's
being
right.
unrealistic. If something shitty happens, you got to feel it, but you can't live there.
Spiritual awakenings are not fun. They're hard. Being able to focus on myself and not on money or not on going to a job or even a husband or a child, and being able to be here by myself and swim in it until I found my way out was probably my biggest breakthrough luck that I was able to even have this experience. It went the way it was supposed to go. I I'm still trying to wrap my head around the experience. I wish I would have seen the butterfly. I have no doubts it happened because it was already such a magical day.
It was real.
Yeah.
It was real. And I like maybe that was my gift because I am such a like, give me a song, like,
Yeah.
and it's a hard journey. It's a hard trek for me because I've always been, competing with my older sister. Like we were such a competitive family. And it's like everyone, you need that little reward, or you need to win that contest. You need to to prove like those little notches. You don't need shit. And I wish I had my phone on me because you touched me something when I called you and I was really searching for some answers. And we had a conversation and you said something to me that was so profound, and you're going to be able to say it better than I am right now. But basically what you told me is that you're not what you're experiencing.
That's right.
But the way you said it was so perfect. You're not your situation. You're not your circumstances. I don't know. Maybe you know the quote that I'm referring to.
I don't remember me having that specific quote. I do remember telling you it matters not what your circumstances are, only what you vibrate at or only how you feel about them. It doesn't matter what's happening around you. It only matters what you're reacting to.
Yes.
And I don't want to I know we've been chatting here for over an hour. I don't want to keep you guys forever, but it's like, I think the butterfly was a gift to you. And I think it was a gift to you too, Nashad. Like I don't think you would have seen the butterfly unless you were meant to see the butterfly. I mean, I guess the butterfly happened.
The butterfly fucking come out of you was physical to me. I saw a physical white-lipped butterfly
Or just disappears
Just
flowers.
go into the flowers. That happened. Unquestionably, I'd take a lie detector test right now. I will never not say that because I saw that and my eyes locked with your eyes and you saw it too. It happened. It was magical. It was.
That
It was magic.
That is the truest statement. That is magical. That's magic. It's been I hope I have.
It was energy manifesting. I think.
I think it was too, and I think it healed me. Like I
Amazing.
feel different. I feel different. Like it's so weird, and I'm going to who knows? I could next week something could happen and start having symptoms, and I'll be like, I guess that butterfly didn't do much, or whatever. But
I'm telling you,
there was a green energy.
It doesn't deny that it happened.
That's true.
It doesn't negate the fact that that experience happened. It was real. I saw it. Nashad saw it. If it is a hologram, we saw both of us saw the same hologram at the same time. Take the same trajectory.
That was a gift. I think that was a gift to all of us. I think it meant good things are coming for us. And Kellie, I love that. I feel like you are going through your own awakening, going through your own transformation. Everybody has their own journey.
Yeah.
And, I'm always there to support you. You should come do ayahuasca with me. And,
it's definitely on my list. I mean, I definitely believe in that. I definitely am so open to that. I've always been the energy, but until you put the work in, believing in it and saying it's real and really learning more about it, like I still have so much to learn, but being open to learning it is the way you get there. And I'm just getting there, And so what you've been studying for a few years, I've been studying this year. I'm into now. And I've been listening to the podcast, doing the things, doing the work. We all have our own timeline. Look, my timeline was this. My awareness now. And I'm grateful for it because I don't think I would be sitting here right now if I wasn't on that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think there are no coincidences. There's no,
everything is meant to happen happens. And we might not always understand it, but I'm beginning to be more and more aware of how we guide it.
Yeah.
More and more aware of how we put ourselves into situations that are going to turn out positive by what we're thinking.
Yeah, it matters, man. I mean, thank you for coming on and telling the butterfly. I don't even know event. I was going to say story, but story it means that it could be fiction. No. So I'm going to call it the butterfly event. That
I like the butterfly effect. I like the title.
I was gonna name the episode either because I don't know if I should name it the butterfly effect because there actually is a butterfly effect. It's about a timeline. I don't want to give people the wrong impression that I'm doing a timeline, episode.
No.
So maybe I'll call it my butterfly effect or something like that. I don't know.
Effect in quotes or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it happened.
It has been a year for the books. 2024 was a year for the books for me.
For transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I definitely went through a whole metamorphosis. What I really did go through a metamorphosis. Maybe that was like the symbolic of me.
Maybe. It makes sense. I mean, if the metamorphosis was going to put itself into a physical being, what better being than a butterfly?
Yeah. I mean, it really is a symbol of transformation, and I have been through the ringer this year. And anyways, I love you to death. I'm very excited that you're starting out your own spiritual journey. You call me anytime if you have, you will anyways.
But I will.
I'm excited for you. I hope it's easier than mine. I wouldn't wish it.
I don't think change is ever easy. I think we fight. We're in a bad situation. I see people, and myself included, repeat bad habits because they're familiar. I think breaking yourself out of the familiar, and like you said, just being in the moment, and being present
Yes.
is a practice because we're not even taught to do that. We're taught that
No.
you're not worthy to just chill and relax. We're taught that you're not worthy to just be in the moment. You got to always have accountability for your time, and maybe you don't.
No, you don't. These are all I am very much not in the 3D matrix anymore. Like I don't listen to the news. I don't watch politics. I have such a different frame of mind when I look at what our reality is, what I'm doing here, what I want in life, that anything that society has put on me is just like it's evaporated. I don't even think of those terms anymore. It's really been like I literally do not think the same as I used to. I don't you I'm like Teflon when it comes to other people's like opinions of me. Like some people have said, I can't believe you're putting out a podcast about this, some of your stuff you because I've had some pretty woo-woo stuff on the show. And I'm like, I don't care. Whatever somebody thinks about me, it's really just none of my business. Let them have their journey. Like it really
I know
is.
that's
It's none of my
I always
business.
say it. It's not my business what other people think,
None of my business.
but it's also a learned thing to act me.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
not, it's easy to say, hard to feel
Yes.
because we want to be validated. But I think when you get there, it's so fucking freeing.
Yeah. I'm under the impression that anybody who finds this podcast is meant to find it. And if it resonates with them, then that's their
Maybe they
journey.
have a story for us.
Oh, cool.
You know,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's the beauty of it because it's reinforced in other ways. And you're like, and I think you do find that when you're out there and you say something, you take a stand in a certain way, you find that you're not alone. You find other people with like minds. You find that somebody else had an experience like that. I mean, look at these stories that you hear about, somebody lifting up a car to get the kid out, or like someone, all this stuff. We have that in us. What is thought that we don't? So stay in line.
That's right. It's all about, control. Yep. Well, Nashad, thank you. Kellie, thank you for coming on and being a part of the F.A.T.E podcast. I never thought I'd squeeze you guys in on the show, but lo and behold, here you are, the butterfly effect.
For having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Come back anytime. Kellie, keep me posted on your journey. You can come back and, we can have, there's so many conversations we can have about awakenings and going through, and understanding who you are and not who you think you are. Like there's just so much you could talk about. And I hope, I would like to think that most people are not cynical and believe us. I'm sure people are going to be like, that's crap. And I'm not listening to the show anymore because you're fooling me. But like, none of us have any reason to lie here.
No.
There was no preemptive chat. Let's do a podcast how a butterfly flew out of my stomach. Like there was none of that. It was like it just happened, and I said, why don't you guys come on the show and talk about it? Because 6 months from now we might second guess ourselves and say maybe it didn't happen.
I don't think I ever will. I know that
it's definitely something that's yeah, no, it's definitely.
You don't unsee that. It's like seeing one of your parents naked when you're a kid. You don't unsee it. You're like, I'm traumatized. But you don't unsee that shit. Like I can't ever unsee that. It's clear as day in my head right now.
Yeah.
It happened.
Well, there you go, folks. It happened. That should be the name of the show. It happened. Thank you guys again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be seeing this December 30th next week. We will be getting into 2025. I will be bringing you guys so many more stories, so many more updates. And welcome to your F.A.T.E, guys. This has been a year in the making. It's been a journey, and I can't wait to see what 2025 brings. Hopefully, more magical stuff. More magic, please. Alrighty, guys. Until then, journey well, everyone. Bye-bye. And that is a wrap on this year, 2024, of the episodes for the F.A.T.E podcast. Well, folks, I don't even really know what to say about this episode. Um, it has been, it's right now, it's the day before Christmas Eve. When you hear this, when I release it, it'll be the day before New Year's Eve. And it is a magical time of the year, that's for sure. I have had the most transformative year of my life. I have done so much work on how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. I mean, it has just been remarkable. And to have the year end with Kellie and Nashad seeing a butterfly manifest itself and fly out of me and into the air, I just, I really don't know what to say about that. I'm very curious to know what other people think. I mean, I've been around. Kimberly Meredith healed my gut by putting her hands on me. She healed it. I haven't had any problems. I don't know if it's belief. I don't know if it's just that I am more open to it energetically. I don't know if I literally asked for help this year so many times from spirit guides, from archangels, from source creator, God of all. I asked help from everyone. I was struggling. I don't know, maybe that green orb that followed us around all day manifested it into a butterfly. Maybe to help Kellie to see, get her on her path and be like, hey, come on, get on your journey. It's much better over here. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Um, I do want to believe that I'm healed now. Isn't that weird? But like, I haven't had any symptoms at all. None. And I was living in the, okay, I have a little symptoms here and there every day. I can take a little something and it'll be fine. I can live like this. I can live like this. We'll work on it. I was just going to continue to work on it, and I was going to manifest my cure, manifest it, manifest it. And maybe I did. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. I will give you updates if I get a resurgence of symptoms, if I get a resurgence of bad health. I will eventually tell you, even if I can't tell you in the moment because I'm in the middle of a psychic breakdown, mental breakdown. I mean, it was one for the books. Let's just say that, ladies and gentlemen. This whole year has been one for the books, between even starting this podcast, which has in itself been a magical, magical journey where I have learned so much and met incredible people and been exposed to information that I never would have thought I ever would have been exposed to having a total dark night of the soul relapse with my health, and working through anger, working through arrogance, working through what it feels like to surrender, working through um, my own thoughts of who I am and what I want to be and who I want to be, and self and ego. And I started this podcast saying we are more powerful than we think we are, that we don't know our full history. And I'm ending the year with a butterfly manifesting out of me, which completely and totally supports my initial premise that we don't know everything. There's so much out there that we are not tuned into, that we are not picking up on, that we are not listening for, that when you tune in, when you listen, when you do the work, magic happens. Magic. That was magic. Mystical, unexplained, and it happened, folks. I don't know why it happened. I think it healed me. I don't know, but it happened. And I am here for it, man. I am here for it. I hope more magical things happen to me. I hope I'm cured and I can walk around the earth and be like, I got cured. I lucked out. I either manifested it or, you know, a higher power than me said, "Come on, let me take this from you. You've got bigger, better things to do with your life now." So, which I feel like I do. This was the longest episode of my journey. I think this one's going to be almost like 2 hours long. So, I hope. I mean, I can't imagine you didn't stay to the end. It was a fantastical journey, probably more fantastical than even some of my other episodes where I was talking about alien stuff and nature of reality stuff. Some pretty out there concepts I talked about this year. I have like 6 or 7 episodes in the can that are so great, still wonderful people. I mean, please keep journeying with me. We are on the brink of 2025. I know that there's a lot of people out there so worried about the future. Um, I mean, I live in America. I know there's a lot of turmoil out there. There's a lot of chaos when it comes to our country, the divisions, and the political games and the reality TV nature that our lives have become like, where everyone's living their life online or, behind some sort of facade. I understand there's a lot of concern out there for the future, but I will say, don't be. Live in that center within that gives you peace. And, I don't know. Everyone has their own journey, but I feel so much peace and contentment and love and just a deep gratitude as much as I've gone through this year. And I'm financially, I'm not out of it. I'm still in it. Like, so is Kelly, so is everybody else I know. The movie industry is struggling. I don't know where its destination is, but it is on the struggle bus, and we are cruising into, unknown territory. I don't know. But I know I'm going to be fine. I know I'm going to get work this year. I'm going to be able to pull that in for me. And I'm going to be able to pull whatever I need into me. I am a eternal being of light. God lies within me. I am of God. I will go back to God. God is all of creation, consciousness. And what else do you need to know? I feel completely just at peace. And I hope this Christmas you all are out there experiencing love and peace. And I hope 2025 brings you grand things. I really do. And do me a favor, share this episode. I want people to hear this story. I do. It's such a weird thing that happened to me, especially with the journey that I was on. And I was an atheist my whole life, and I never believed in anything. I never believed in any of this. It is such a weird unicorn story that I'm even experiencing this. Like, it is just bizarre. So I'm not saying share it for giving me any kind of fame. I'm saying share it because I think it gives people hope, man. I think it lifts the veil a little bit. I mean, no one's going to believe it. People are cynical and, maybe they think the devil did it. I don't know. All I know is this. Share this episode, and I want to lift the consciousness of this planet, get you all to vibrate higher, and bring good things into this reality that we're all swimming in together. All right. I think I've made this episode long enough. I think it's time to sign off, tell you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at F.A.T.E. podcast. Follow me. Let me know what you think about this episode. This one was one for the books. I don't know if I can top this. I'm going to try next year. I'm going to keep bringing you amazing concepts and guests and talking about spiritual things of all nature. So stay tuned. We'll see you in 2025. I think my first episode back in from 2025 is going to be with Tammy Allen. She is a life coach shaman. She is pretty cool, pretty powerful, and we have a great conversation. So I think that's going to be coming up after the new year, first up. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with me through this journey, and I will see you in 2025. And welcome to your fate, everyone. Happy New Year.